We have always believed, for the years we have done marriage coaching and all that, we have always believed that when there is intimacy between a couple, they literally can survive anything that comes. Once there's intimacy, real intimacy between a couple. You can't choose the challenges that life will throw at you. You don't get to choose. If we got to choose, that would have been so nice, but we don't get to choose. Life just happens. But what you can choose is how intimate you can be with your spouse. Once there is solid intimacy between a couple, what we have found out is that they can survive anything. They can survive infertility, they can survive infidelity, they can survive insufficient funds, they can survive interference, they can survive anything once they are solid. That's what we found out. Most times when people say our marriage broke because of so and so, it is really never that thing they are mentioning. It was the lack of intimacy that gave birth to that thing. A lot of times what they are mentioning is a symptom and not the root cause. Is somebody following what we're saying? So your job and my job and our jobs as married people is to consciously build that intimacy. So this morning we're going to run through some things that can help you build intimacy. In fact, we're taking it from the word intimate. We're using an acronym intimate. We're using an acronym intimate. Yeah, doing. So intimate, or in this case, yes, intimate, which simply means into your mate or into my mate. Into my mate. How intimate are both of you? How into your mate are you? The thing about intimacy is that it is either consciously growing or unconsciously fading. All right? It is either consciously growing or unconsciously what? Fading. Okay, so intimate, we're going to start. I'm going to do letter I. Letter I. We're using the acronym intimate. Letter I is intentionality. Intentionality. So, if you are going to build intimacy with your partner, I like an illustration somebody gave. Somebody said, when a couple or two things are like this, you find out that something can easily break them. When they are locked this way, it's more difficult. That's what intimacy is. So life happens, things will happen. When people say, my husband lost his job or we got broke, that's why I'm married. No, that's not why your marriage broke. Because if you check it, there will be people that have gone through worse financial situations and even made them closer. There are couples that have said, we got married and we couldn't have kids. That's why the marriage broke. No, but there are people that have stayed and not been able to have kids. Is somebody getting what I'm saying? I'm saying, look, you can't choose what's going to happen, but you can choose to be intimate. And remember, if it's not consciously growing, it is unconsciously fading. So intentionality is the first I. And nobody stays the same. So some couples, as I'm speaking, are consciously fading. When the divorce is announced, it's not when the divorce happened. Is somebody getting what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to tell you. When it happens, it's not when it's announced, it's not when it happens. Marriages don't break overnight, they break over time. Okay? Marriages don't break overnight. Most times we say, they just announced it was overnight. It was never overnight. It was over time. So the first I is intentionality. You can't build intimacy without being intentional. You can't leave it to chance. You must be intentional. A wise man said, good couples are compatible by chance, but great couples are compatible by choice. Very important. Good couples are compatible by chance. They're allowing things just happen. But great couples are compatible by choice. If we don't achieve anything else today, can we all become intentional about being intimate? Intentional. Most ladies are intentional about how they look. They know where to go and make their hair. They research it. They get referrals. They know the best color for their makeup. They research it. They get referrals. Most guys are intentional about their cars. They make sure there's no scratch. Make sure everything is well maintained and serviced. That level of intentionality is the same thing you need in being intimate with your spouse. So we're traveling some months ago on a particular flight. And when we sat on the seat, we found out there was a small barricade, a kind of a barricade between the two seats. They put those barricades there just in case the two people are not flying together. So, but we were flying together, so we needed to bring it down. So I called the attendant and I said, how do we bring this thing down? There were two buttons on both sides that were pointing down and up. So I asked the guy, how do we bring it down? They said, both of you need to press the down button at the same time for it to come down. I said, great. I said, but how do we bring it up? He said, only one person needs to press it for it to go up. So it dawned on me that to build intimacy, the two people need to do it intentionally. But to create a wall or to scatter the marriage, only one person. It's amazing. For it to work, two people must be intentional. For it to fail, just one unwilling person. Just one. So sometimes it's not even about how good you are. It's always about how good the team is. Many people say, I'm so loving, I'm so kind, I'm so nice. That's not what will guarantee success. The other person on the other side of that wall needs to also be on that same mind or page with you. Intentionality. Are two of you pressing it down at the same time to build that intimacy, or is one person putting up a wall? And I've learned in most situations that not all, but in most cases, especially when the marriage is rocky, there's one person in every marriage that appears that he has nothing to lose if this marriage breaks. There's always that one person. Nobody should look anyhow, so that we won't know who is the person in your house. But usually in my counseling couples, I've discovered there's one of them that appears as if I don't care. You know, it's like when those two women went to Solomon and they had their baby issue. One said, let's kill the baby. There's always that one person. Let's kill this marriage. Why am I even married? Let's divorce. So that person, you see that word divorce flies out of their mouth often. They are the ones kind of causing trouble. I'm here to tell you, if you are that person, you know, because most times there's somebody that is very good. Most times, I know this is not all the case. There's some cases where both are very bad, both are very good. But in most cases, there's somebody that is very good and giving in that marriage. I hope you know who it is in my own house. You should know by now.
I was just about
You should know by now. But in all fairness, this woman is amazing. She's a giver naturally. You know, one of my daughters is like her. When you see those people, they are good people. I don't know if you have met those people. Some of you are like that. They're just good people. In fact, a moron can marry that person and have a good marriage. That person is a good person. They never think of themselves first. They're always considering the other person. That marriage is more dependent on this other guy that appears not to care so much. There's always that person. Sometimes a man, sometimes a woman that doesn't care. Like I said, in this marriage, I'm the caring person. Okay, so like she's the caring person. She's the caring one. So most times that marriage is dependent on that other person becoming willing. If that person never gets willing, you find out if you have, I don't know if has dealt with a lot of people that are trying to divorce or whatever, there's one always willing to work. Let's work on it. Let's try. I'm ready. But there's one always saying, coming up with different things. I'm not happy. The bed is not well laid. The food is not. No, they are just coming up with excuses. If you are like that, because I was that person in my house. If you are like that, you can have an incredible marriage if you become intentional. If you can match the energy of your partner. Stop being the person that feels you don't care. See, you even deserve to be happy. And this I don't care attitude will also make you unhappy. I was driving in Houston. I saw one billboard. They said cheap divorces. I said it's a lie of the devil. There's no divorce that is cheap. It's a lie of the devil. They are telling you lies. No divorce is cheap. No marriage is cheap, but no divorce is cheap either. They will all take work. So point number 1, I, is intentionality. So the question is, how intentional are you as a couple? to build intimacy? How intentional? Coming for this meeting definitely is part of being intentional. But apart from that, how intentional have you been in terms of building intimacy between you and your partner? It is an intentional act. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so I was thinking you're going to give them 1 minute to write some things they need to be intentional about.
Okay.
So maybe you should take a minute and write something you think you should be more intentional about in your marriage. Because I don't want this to just be us preaching at you and then you go home and everything is the same. So maybe write something your partner can hold you accountable to.
Yes.
Maybe you need to pray together more. You need to go on dates together more. You need to stop complaining about having a headache every time he wants to have sex. I'm just saying. Just putting it out there. So 30 more seconds.
You can even discuss it as a couple.
Yeah.
That is what we need to do to be more intentional.
Close earlier some days.
Yeah.
Keep work in the office. Send the children somewhere for date nights.
To the orphanage.
I feel like the men. You will need an extra pastor. I can leave him behind.